Welcome everybody to Conversations with Cubit. Thank you for joining me tonight, and thanks for supporting these weekly conversations. The emails you send, the text messages you send, the countless inbox messaging supporting these conversations continue to be super encouraging. Now, I am excited about tonight's conversation and tonight's guest as always, and I need you to do me a favor right now and share tonight's conversation, especially to those in your family and in your community who are concerned about our criminal justice system. Why? Because tonight my guest has spent many years working within our justice system and is running for judge in Oklahoma County. So hit the share button or start a watch party, whatever you got to do. And as always, I want to give a great big shout out to my friends out at Green Pasture Studios who graciously host our weekly conversations. The studio is located in far east Oklahoma City, like out in Spencer area, and they are doing full-fledged movie productions out there, commercials, and they even have a film training academy for those of you who are interested in getting involved in that profession. Look them up online and find out more information that they have for you online. Figure out a way to get involved. Now, let me tell you why we do these conversations. My goal is always the same. One, I want to add value to people, and I want to add value to my community. Two, I want to inspire you to believe in what people and community can become when we're all willing to work together. And three, I just love people, period. No strings attached. Love having conversations. All this means is I want you to be inspired. I want you to get useful information and resources, and I want to celebrate individuals, groups, and organizations who are making a positive impact on our community. Every conversation that you will see here on Conversations with Cubit will be about information, inspiration, and hope. So now let's get down to business. Joining me tonight is my new friend, Judge James Siderias. James is currently serving as a special judge in Oklahoma County. He is a first-generation American born here in the United States to immigrant parents from Greece. His family made their way to El Reno, Oklahoma, where he grew up with his mother and stepdad, who happened to work as the director of education for the Cheyenne Arapaho tribe. Judge Siderias says it was during this time he learned the importance of honoring not only his own heritage, but the heritage of other cultures. And after graduating from El Reno High School, he attended Oklahoma Baptist University, where he graduated magna cum laude. He proceeded to the University of Oklahoma College of Law, earning a law degree in 1999. Since then, he has worked as a prosecutor and opened his own law practice centered on criminal defense work. And in 2020, he was selected by a majority of the Oklahoma district judges to serve as an Oklahoma County special judge. And here to tell us more about himself, his work, and his vision for our criminal justice system here in Oklahoma County is Judge James Siderias. Welcome to Conversations with Cubit.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks for joining me. How you like this place? We're downtown.
Yeah.
In 21C Museum and Hotel. Yeah. This place is massive, and I love how they do it. What do you think?
I think it's great. I love to see just new energy back in our city, and this is just one of the prime examples. It's been refurbished, reused, repurposed, and not forgotten.
Yeah. It's a great place for a staycation.
Yeah, that's right.
Just come down here and
I've
stay.
done that a couple of times.
Yeah, you were telling me you had to come down here. I'm going to have to do it. It's really nice and roomy.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like a tornado's going to move this place.
I don't think so. I think it's withstood the test of time. Yeah.
It has.
Yeah.
All right, so before we get started, a lot of the viewers, they want me to ask you some serious questions.
Okay.
We'll get to that.
Okay.
But for me, I have these, I don't know, they might be silly questions.
Okay.
But for me, it really tells me where we align, and it's kind of how I decide my vote based on these questions. Right?
No pressure.
No pressure.
Okay.
No pressure. If there's one vote, there's going to be only, okay. So you ready for these?
Sure.
Rapid fire. There's
All
no
right.
right or wrong. You just pick one or the other that best suited for you, okay? All right, here we go. What's worse for you, doing the dishes or doing the laundry?
The dishes. Yeah.
Oh.
100%.
I'd rather do the dishes. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Is it sneakers or tennis shoes?
It's sneakers.
Sneakers?
Yeah.
Tennis shoes. Okay. All right.
We're sucking out here.
We got plenty. We got plenty of room.
okay.
We got plenty of room. We got make up. Phone calls or text messages?
Text messages.
Okay. All right.
You got a record.
Yeah, we're going. Yeah. Go back. I heard what you said. I like to use evidence. That's right.
Right.
Okay. Good barbecue or good seafood?
Oh, good barbecue.
Good barbecue.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. You made that really easy. I'm going with you.
No.
But it's kind of it's a hard choice for me. Okay. Rock and roll or rap?
Oh man, I think I'm probably more familiar with rock and roll, but I think I like rap a little bit better. Yeah.
Okay, I get it. Do you call it pop or soda?
Oh, pop.
Pop, for
Yeah.
sure. Would you rather have a truck or car?
I want a truck. I have a car right now, but I'm ready for a truck.
Gotta get a pie. Get a pie. Are you a handshake person or a hug person?
I'm a hug person.
Hug person.
I am.
Man, you're coming back.
Yeah.
Scary movie or comedy?
Comedy.
Man, okay, we're hitting it. Would you rather go to a birthday party or a wedding?
Oh man, a birthday party, I think. Yeah.
Birthday party all the way. Yeah.
Seems more casual.
Yeah. And because I don't know, weddings are cool,
Yeah.
but they don't always end the same way they start.
No. People don't know what they're getting into. Sometimes.
Poor guy. That poor girl has no idea what she's. All right. So there's one job left.
Mm-hmm.
One job left, and you have to pick one: policeman or fireman.
I'd rather be a fireman.
Ooh.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
I know.
I hate to break it to you.
Yeah,
Law enforcement's tough. Yeah.
It's tough. Okay. All right. If you're home alone and the camera catches you, is it going to catch you singing or dancing?
Oh, both, I think. Probably probably singing.
Probably singing.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. For you, do you call it I-235 or Broadway Extension?
Broadway Extension.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. All the way. Pick one of these guys. Will Smith, Chris Rock.
Chris Rock. Chris Rock, yeah.
Yeah, Chris Rock.
Rock.
But I can tell that you're a fan.
Yes, I love Will Smith. I love his music, I love his movies, I love him, but I think right now I'd have to say Chris Rock.
It'll wear off.
Yeah.
It'll wear off.
It's too early. Yeah.
All right. At bedtime, and this is a new one. At bedtime, TV on or TV off?
Man, I've tried the TV off and it just does not work. The TV is on.
The TV is on.
It's on.
All for the night?
You know, it goes off on its own. I have it set.
Got it set?
Yeah.
But way out there. Yeah, that's right. That's right. All right. Are you lip singing or are you karaoke?
Oh, lip syncing. You don't want to see me. You don't want to hear me sing. That's why I do it at home. You don't want to hear me sing. Mm-mm.
That's good. All right. We aligned pretty good. That's a good start. That's not bad, was it?
No.
Not bad. I work hard on those.
Well, I can tell, and I think they're very meaningful too. I'm sure some psychologist somewhere is out there analyzing those answers.
They're analyzing my question.
Okay.
They're saying something's wrong with the guy that made those questions. Yeah. All right, man. That's really good. But tell us a little bit. You have an interesting background. It says you're from first American immigrants from Greece.
Yeah.
Give us a little story about who you are.
I'm really proud that my parents came over here from Greece and gave themselves a chance at a better life. I don't think anybody leaves where their homeland is thinking because things are so great. But my parents clung to the American dream. They came here, they had me, and certainly afforded me lots of opportunities by being able to be an American citizen. So I am hugely proud, though, of the fact that my parents did that. I actually did not know how to speak English, and some might say that I still don't, but I didn't know how to speak English until I got into preschool because my parents divorced. I was the product of a single mother raising me. My grandmother had to come in and live with us because my mom had to work a couple of jobs to make ends meet, and my grandmother did not speak English. And as a consequence, I grew up speaking Greek, and so when it came time for preschool, mom had to come to translate for me. So I think that at the time it was embarrassing. Today I'm proud of it. I still speak Greek. It has not come in very handy in my job, but I'm really proud of that fact. And I got to see some pretty strong, powerful women growing up. My grandmother, my mother, they were integral figures in my life and supporting me, raising me, and just keeping me safe and keeping my priorities on track. So you don't get away with a whole lot with a Greek mother and a Greek grandmother. They're going to come down pretty hard.
It's tough. It's tough.
It is tough.
Grandmas are tough anyway.
Yeah.
And single mom, but she wasn't single.
Well, my parents married, they divorced. My mother met my stepfather after she and my father divorced, and he was from Oklahoma, and he wanted to come back to Oklahoma. He grew up in El Reno, and actually was Cheyenne Arapaho. He actually grew up on the reservation for a period of time, went to the boarding schools, and wanted to come back and be of service to his community and to the Native American tribe that he thought and believed really helped shape and form who he was. And so we did that. We came back here in the 3rd grade and grew up in El Reno.
Yeah, that's good. Now, so from El Reno to OU.
OBU, then OU.
OBU, then OU.
Yeah.
And so that got you involved in law.
Yes.
You had your own law practice. You're doing all that kind of thing. Tell me why you would go to that comfort. And well, you've been doing the judge thing for a while as a special judge, but now you've put your name in the hat for district judge. Tell me what's the purpose of all this?
Well, you hit the nail on the head. The safe place for me to be is as a special judge. I am accountable to the district judges that appointed me. So the safe place for me to be is to stay as a special judge, but I don't think you ever do great things by being safe. Being a district judge puts me out there, makes me accountable to the community. I'm running for an open seat that is county-wide, and every single citizen in Oklahoma County is going to get to judge me, judge the judge,
right.
For a change on the basis of my record, how I rule, how I treat people, and how I run my courtroom. So I'm running because I think it is absolutely imperative, especially today in these times in which we live, that people are confident that the judiciary that they stand before is impartial, they're fair, they're leading with some discernment, some wisdom, they know the law, they know how to apply the law. But transparency is so important. People need to feel that they've been heard, considered, and I think it's important now more than ever. And I want to be a part of not just leaving people feeling that they've had that, but knowing that they've had that they've had that opportunity for their time for justice.
Yeah, can you talk a little bit? That's really good, because I think all of that is true. But can you talk a little bit about your background specifically that really ties in to what's going to make you
Sure.
Good for this role? I mean, you've been a prosecutor,
Yeah.
and you've had your own, but what judge is a little bit different. Tell me what specifically you've done that you think fits for this role.
Well, first of all, I think anytime you have an individual that's been on both sides of the fence, listen, I'm going to be filling a criminal docket seat that's been left by retired Judge Ray Elliott. And so when I get up there on that bench, you want to have somebody that has done the prosecution, has done the criminal defense, has had the experience as a judge, and knows what it takes to be able to administer justice in a fair, impartial manner. So I think one of the things that sets me apart is that I have not devoted my entire life to just public service. I think one of the things I'm most proud of is having built something up from nothing. I started a practice with nothing but a lot of faith in God, and knowing that I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. And I'll tell you what, I didn't realize this when I was a prosecutor, but being a criminal defense attorney is probably one of the hardest jobs. You have the weight of the world on your shoulders, knowing that you are defending somebody's constitutional rights, and you're standing often as the gate between liberty or incarceration. Being a prosecutor is important work. I handled some of the most terrible cases. I mean, I prosecuted child abuse, sex crimes, homicides. I saw a lot of bad things, and it is righteous to be able to feel like you are serving your community, protecting individuals. I loved that period of time for my life, but when it came time for me to do something different, I knew that it was that time, and God opened those doors, and I had the opportunity to experience what the criminal justice system is like from the other side. And I think that is absolutely so important. When you have somebody sitting up there high up on the bench judging, looking down at others. You want somebody that's been on both sides.
Right,
Yeah.
right. That sounds good. You did say something there that I got to dig into. You said administer justice.
Right.
So depending on who you ask,
Right.
we might get another definition. What is justice? What is it?
Man, it's such an obscure concept, right? You know, people talk about justice all the time. For me, I think justice is an opportunity for the law to be applied with some impartiality, some fairness, some discernment, so that truth prevails, so that punishment is administered when appropriate, accountability is administered when appropriate, rehabilitation is offered, victims are left whole. I think the key components of justice for me is impartiality and truth. That is what justice is. It's a search for the truth, a search to give meaning behind what happened, and where appropriate to punish, where appropriate to rehabilitate, and where appropriate always to make the person that has been harmed a little bit safer and made whole. But truth, I think, is really the backbone to all of that. That's what justice should demand.
Yeah, I've been hearing lately people changing what they call our criminal justice system to the criminal legal system. And the reason they've been saying it, calling it the criminal legal system, is because the statement has always said that our criminal justice system is broken.
Right.
How do you address the statement that the criminal justice system is broken?
Well, I disagree to some extent. So if your hot water heater goes out in your house, you're not going to torch your house, right? You're going to fix your hot water heater. We need to, I think, as a community, as a legal system, address those parts of our system that are broken, bring people to the table and have discussions, talk about how we can fix it. What are barriers to justice for people? Is it their language, not being able to speak the language? Is it a lawyer not having competent, qualified representation? Is it not having an opportunity to be heard? Is it the overburdened system? Is it there's so many things that can play a role in breaking down various institutions that comprise our legal system. But listen, I believe we have one of the greatest systems in the world. People have followed us and imitated us. It is not perfect, but it is not to be thrown away either. That we need to probably rework some things. Sure, absolutely. Yeah. And we're seeing that every day. That's why we have diversion programs. That's why we have pretrial release programs. And those programs work. They're working, you know. Diversion courts in Oklahoma County have a 6.8% recidivism rate. I'm going to repeat that, 6.8%. We want a model to look at the diversion courts. 83% success rate for those people that commit and follow through to that program. We have, but what is it about those programs? It is a community. It is experts from so many fields coming together and offering support, education, accountability. You know, people think, oh, diversion courts are, well, you've thrown accountability out the window, and that's just not true. I think there's a lot of supervision that goes into the beginning, a lot of accountability that goes along with that. As the individual progresses, you see less and less of that, and then ultimately they graduate and come back into our community, and the rates of recidivism decrease.
So you're tapping into the subject matter. I spent the last couple of days in a conversation about restorative justice, and it seems like Oklahoma is in the beginning stages of a restorative justice movement. What does restorative justice actually look like?
Okay.
Right.
So yeah, good question.
Yeah.
I think that most people will be surprised to find that restorative justice is contemplated right now on the books. Title 22 Section 305.7 contemplates that the District Attorney's Council, effective November 1st of 2021, in fact, the District Attorney's Council is charged with implementing and administering a pilot program. And what the law speaks to about that, and because I'm confined by the law, you know, I don't make the law, I follow the law, I apply the law. But what the law speaks to restorative justice is an opportunity for someone to be diverted from traditional prosecution into a community-based accountability where there's rehabilitation offered with the eye toward making the victim whole, making amends to the victim, to the community. And so it takes really what the statute's contemplating, at least, is that the administration of justice is diverted from the courts back to the community.
Yeah.
I don't think that it speaks a lot to how that's done, but here's the thing. Take the legalese out of it. Restorative justice really, I think at its core, at least for me, means that there is an opportunity for the victim to be heard, for the victim to be made whole. There is an opportunity for a person that stands accused to do something different, to learn maybe some new tools. Just the other day, I had a young mother that appeared in front of me. She had her vehicle stolen, and she was really left destitute as a result of that. And I heard from her. The state, the prosecutors heard from her. The defense heard from her. And as a result of hearing from her, the state actually changed their recommendation. And they did so in an effort so that that woman could be made whole, maybe some restitution being offered. But they also had an eye toward rehabilitating, offering some opportunities for education, job training, and while the person was being supervised. So I kind of saw it play out in my courtroom.
Right.
Yeah.
Is this a situation where, one, can we ever really get to true restorative justice model without judges in the Department of Corrections and all of those moving parts actually working together? Because it seems like you may be implementing in your mind some restorative justice or in the courtroom, but then when they go to the sentencing, when they get to the actual Department of Corrections, something else is going to play out there. Their
Right.
access to services, their access to all of that may be different. How can the judges impact that?
I mean, I think that one thing that judges can do that I'd be able to do as a district judge is make certain recommendations on sentences that I can't do that so much today as a special judge. I'm really limited in taking agreed pleas. But what I do try to do is always listen and hear from both sides, whoever wants to be heard. And sometimes you'd be surprised how often people just want to be heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you already spoke to this a little bit, but I'm really, one of the things that keeps popping up when I'm in these conversations about criminal justice reform and I'm in these conversations about restorative justice, the thing that keeps coming up is like, man, you just want to, people have to be held accountable. And this conversation is more focused on the person that did the crime than it is about the community that was harmed by the crime. Mm-hmm. Where does the judge actually find the balance? Because here's the thing, we want to keep the community safe, and I think that's part of a judge's job.
That's absolute priority.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think you have to look at each case individually, number one. It's not a one-size-fits-all model. There are, you have to look at the crime, right? Not all crimes are going to fit restorative justice, right? You have to look at the history.
Why not? Why not?
Well, because I think inherently when there are just certain crimes that merit some time away from the community. Folks that you wouldn't want to run into at night, folks I wouldn't want to run into at night, and it comes after they've had an opportunity for due process, but not all crimes fit, I think, the restorative justice model. Inevitably, people are going to be out, right? Not everybody gets locked up for life. I think that having systems in place while they're incarcerated and making sure that we are funding those, that's sort of outside of a judge's hand. But there are some programs already in the Department of Corrections, things like drug offender work camp or other equivalent models that afford people an opportunity for some change. I see a lot of things happening for women who are incarcerated, which is wonderful. Opportunities for education. We have private schools and universities going in and offering advanced degrees or even high school equivalent degrees for a lot of these women. We're not seeing that on the side for the men as much yet. But I think it also, more than just relying on the institution, relying on the community to be able to go in and offer some of these services as well.
Yeah.
I think we put too much of a burden on government. Government's not the solution to everything, the community is. So when you tell the Department of Corrections, come up with funding to do X, Y, Z, when there are organizations, private organizations or institutions that can do that same thing and give back at the same time, I think we need to start tapping into some of those resources maybe.
You didn't say church, but I'll go ahead and say that.
No, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ministry is important.
Ministry is important.
You know, people need to, regardless of where people end up, I think it's so important that people are left with a little hope. Doesn't matter which side that you fall on. God created all of us. At least I believe that, right? And so if you don't have a little bit of faith to lean into, a little bit of hope to keep you going, I don't know where I'd be without that anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
So the next big question
Yeah.
that we got to ask, we have in our criminal justice system, no argument. I think nobody's going to argue this fact, but we have a huge racial disparity in the criminal justice system, particularly when it comes to African Americans. I believe a lot of that is unconscious bias or racial bias. I don't believe it is a conscious effort a lot of times on the system to do that. A lot of times, sometimes it may be individual based, but there's a huge racial disparity. What can you do as the judge? What will you be doing to address racial bias in the courtroom?
Right. Well, I think really the first thing is to recognize that when people say I don't see color, I'm always a little bit skeptical, because if you don't see color, then maybe you don't see the whole big picture.
Right.
And I think it's naive to say that racial prejudices are not out there, because we know that they are. Now, in terms of ensuring, I think my record speaks to that, but more importantly, I think we have some constitutional amendments that, the 4th, 5th, and 6th Amendments to our Constitution, I think are there to safeguard against those things. Regardless of what color your skin is, you should be free from illegal searches and seizures. Regardless of what color your skin is, you should understand that you have the right to remain silent if you are in custody in a situation. You should have representation afforded to you regardless of the color of your skin. Due process, the right to confront your witnesses, all those things that are contemplated in our Constitution and in our amendment, I think are designed to help protect against racial bias. And I think when you apply those and you understand those concepts, when you have a judge that understands those amendments, understands the law behind that, I think you do. I can't help what happened to someone before they came to me, right? But what I can do as a judge is make sure that the law is being applied fairly and conscientiously, that I understand the law, and so therefore I'm able to apply it.
How are you going to address? I mean, I don't know if there's a good answer for this or not. I mean, because it's hypothetical in nature. But how does a judge that suspects or recognizes an unconscious thing happen based on race, either from the prosecutor or from the defense? I don't know. How does the judge say, you know what, that although this might be legal, it might check all the boxes, but it certainly does not feel as though they're recognizing a bias here that I can see?
So, I mean, it's really difficult for a judge to be able to do that because we're confined by the evidence we hear and the law that is before us. But it depends on also the context and the circumstance. Are they standing before me for a sentence? Are they standing before me to make a legal determination? There's differences in the approach depending on how or why the individual is in front of me. But it's a really difficult thing for a judge to do. I think you have to, as a judge, and I know I'll have to, commit to what's in front of me and not speculate on what I think might be going on there. I think that can take us down a dangerous road because it can cut both ways. I have to rely on the lawyers that are appearing in front of me, the defense attorneys that are representing the individuals that are being diligent And I see a lot of great, diligent defense attorneys that are committed and that are speaking up about that. And I see a lot of prosecutors too that are also committed to ensuring that race is not playing a role.
Yeah, yeah. All right, man. I see the criminal justice system in the county has provided a lot of hope and a lot of things. Where do you see the hope in Oklahoma County? Where do you see the things where we're headed?
Listen, when I first started out as a judge, I was assigned to the guardianship, adoption, and probate docket, and I saw how criminality really destabilizes families. I saw people circling the drain oftentimes, and I often wondered, how can we catch some of these folks upstream a little bit? And I was discouraged and disappointed that I didn't have those programs available to me. As a criminal judge, when I got moved to the criminal docket to preside over preliminary hearings, make probable cause determinations, I was really surprised at the number of services that were available to me to help address underlying issues in addiction, to help address underlying issues in mental health, to help decrease crowding over at the jail while still monitoring and supervising individuals on lower level nonviolent offenses. And so things like TEAM, things like Diversion Hub, things like conditional bond are all things that probably in the past 5 to 7 years didn't exist before. We have the ability to put somebody on an ankle monitor. We have the ability to get somebody inpatient treatment as opposed to sitting in the county jail while they await disposition of their charges. And it's especially effective if you've got somebody with addiction issues, right? We have the ability to get people some mental health services. And it also kind of, I think, provides a little bit of a window into how these folks are going to do in the diversion programs. You know, if they're out on a pretrial release bond where they're being supervised with an ankle monitor and they're reporting to TEAM, and we see kind of how they're going to look in a diversion program if that's the route that they're going to go. They're responding to mental health treatment, they're responding to substance abuse treatment, they're employed. Diversion Hub's another great program where if you're already out on bond, you don't know where you're going to go to sleep at night, you don't know, you don't have a job, you can't hire a lawyer, you can't. Diversion Hub is an opportunity for people to go get some help and go get some support. And you know, that doesn't mean that we forget about the person whose life has been impacted as a result of the criminal conduct. That doesn't mean that we throw safety out the window for our community. It just means that we're also taking a look and doing things a little bit differently when it comes to treating the underlying issues that lead people to where they are to begin with. And not everyone's a candidate for it, and that's okay. We're not gonna fix everybody. We're not gonna fix everything. But if the opportunity exists to maybe make a difference, it makes a difference to the life of that individual, to the life of their family, certainly, for sure. And if you can do it in a responsible way that still ensures safety and still considers the victim, then I think we should be looking at doing that. And I'm excited that we have that.
Yeah. So I know about treatment court up with Judge Stoner. Phenomenal things going there. And shout out to my friend Vanessa Price for been involved in the drug court and treatment court things for many, many years. But how do they go? Like if you're someone sitting in a prelim or somebody sitting in your courtroom, you don't have the resources that treatment court actually does, and you recognize that this is how do you get them? I don't know the process. How do you get them? You shouldn't be here. Right. You should be in treatment court. How do you do that?
Well, a lot of times, listen, you know, we're underestimating the expertise of the lawyers. I have some wonderful, incredible public defenders and private members of the criminal bar that appear. I have some really well-reasoned and sound prosecutors that appear. And a lot of times these individuals have already identified for me. We are now making it more accessible. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, individuals can go get their screening, and they don't have to come back multiple times. And then once the screening happens, then it goes into a system where the DA's office and other members of the team, whether it's mental health court, drug court, DUI court, veterans court, they all assess it. and it falls away from my docket. It's one less case I have to deal with, and then it goes to another docket where another judge has got the team and tools and resources in place that can help deal with the various issues that may come up along the way as they're completing their diversion program.
Man, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Wealth of information. I can tell that you are ready. You're already doing the job.
Right.
You just need voter support.
That's right.
So tell us how you can. This is your camera.
Okay,
right here.
great. Yeah.
You can tell us how in the world we support you. We found out more about you. How do we do it?
Sure. You can go, number one, to www.jamesiderias.com, Siderias, no spaces. That's my website. It tells you a little bit more about me, and it tells you ways to get involved in the campaign. We need people to help volunteer. We need people to put up signs. We need people to agree to let signs in their yard, at their businesses. We need you to spread the word. I know that the way that this race is won is through the support of the community. I'm running to be held accountable to my community, and your vote matters. Go register to vote. And also, there is a fundraiser, a meet and greet, this Friday, the 6th of May. It's going to be from 5 to 7 at 2105 Northwest 62nd. So if you want to meet me, I'll greet you there, and I'd love to see you there as well.
Yeah, I've been a candidate, so every meet and greet, every meet and greet is a fundraiser. Like, leave money.
Right, well, no, we can't do that.
You can't do that.
No,
All right. Don't do that.
I just want to meet you and greet you.
Well, listen.
Say hello. Yeah.
I had a question here. Somebody asked.
Sure.
So we're going to go back, and it said, "What are your views regarding mental illness?"
Well, mental illness is real. It's a part. There used to be so much stigma attached with it, and you need not look any further than Oklahoma County to realize that we are recognizing that. We know that impacts a person's decisions, and we have courts, diversion courts, and programs that address that specifically. So, mental illness is something that has to be addressed, just like maybe a substance use disorder needs to be addressed. Yeah, with support services, making sure that the individual is receiving the help that they need.
Yeah, appreciate that, Ms. Mays. Thank you for your question. I'm glad I caught it. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. You're going to be catching all of the major candidates, especially here for Oklahoma County, and some for the state. They've all been invited. We'll see if they come on and answer some of your tough questions. So I appreciate your time. That's it for Conversations with Cubit. We'll see you here next week.